Good evening, everyone. Hello, welcome. I've got a little bit high tech. I've been doing some research over the weekend. There you go. I've had a lot of time on my hands. So we're trying something new tonight. I'm hoping to split. I've got a camera set up so I can show you how to use alarms and do bits and pieces. I can switch from one camera to the other. There we go. Look at that. And you get me back. Look at that. Aren't you lucky? So getting more professional. Who would have thought it? Anyway, so hope you had a good weekend. Hope you can hear me. I hope all that's working. If there's any problems, I'll try and listen to what's going on. Let's have a look. There we go. So we're all up and running. So what are we going to talk about today? Okay, so there's a few things people have asked me to look at. One is changing the tone on the new Txi-Ds and matching the tones. For some people, they seem to want to have all their alarms on the same tone. Who am I to argue? How do you know which one's gone off? But there we go. You might just want to look at the LEDs, but if you can't see the LEDs, the tone would be what I was trying to see the difference on. But hey ho, I will do that for you. Also going to have a look at the RX Plus Pro receiver settings on that, because there's a lot of people who are new to Delkim or have got sets that people have sold second hand and picked up as people have changed to the new digital range. And I'm going to look at some of the settings on the RXD as well to make sure that you're getting the most out of it. People have asked about some settings or things that they would like, and they're available on the products. So we'll go through that as well, and we will try our best. Yes, there's a cat basket in the back. It's in the garage. What do you expect? It's full of junk. But we're trying our best to make it look as professional as possible, and I've learnt something this weekend. So just a quick one again, don't forget to download our app. Okay, download our app, register, and then you're automatically entered into our prize draw to win £780 worth, or over £780 worth of Delkim kit. Okay, a set of blue Txi-Ds, a receiver, a set of blue nightlight indication sets, the accessories to go with them, the safeties and the d-loks. Also going to get heavyweights and a black box to store it all in. Okay, that can be yours for just downloading our app, which is great anyway, and everybody that's downloaded it thinks it's really useful to them, and that was the whole point of it. But you get entered into the free draw. Why wouldn't you do it? Even if you never use the app again, download it, enter your details, and then you're automatically entered for the prize draw, which finishes on Sunday at midnight. Okay, the 5th of April. So that's when it closes. So you've still got a bit of time to do that, and then we'll be announcing the winner sometime next week. Okay, if we get our days mixed up, I don't even know. Is it Monday? I'll try and do this all week for you guys. Half an hour, 45 minutes or so, chatting and whatever you want to go through. Okay, so let's crack on. If you just join us, hello, we're going to go through some bits and pieces. I've put the title up of what we're going to be looking at, setting the tone on the Txi-D. Okay, so let's see if technology can work for me, and we'll switch now to camera 2. Look at that magic. So I've got two Txi-Ds set up here on the stand. So when you first turn them on, okay, the default setting is a medium tone. So let me just turn that on, and then hopefully you can hear. I'll turn up the volume. Okay, so that is a medium tone. If I tap it, let's make it. Okay, it's flashing away there. And you can, well, LED brights are good in there, but anyway, that's a medium tone. Okay, if you want to change the tone, I'll show you how to do it. Okay, so that's probably the one thing you're going to do when you first get it out the box, is that you're going to want to change the tone, unless you want it all set on the medium tone. So to change the tone, you want to turn the alarm off first, and then you want to turn the alarm back on, and then wait for 2 pips. So here we go. Okay, so now I got 2 pips. So you hold the push buttons down. When you turn it on, you wait for 2 pips. Now by pressing and holding push button 1, oh, ha ha ha, there we go. So live TV. While I'm chatting, I forgot. It times out, okay? If you don't do anything, it times out, and now it will just go back to working as normal, and I've put that on mute. So, okay. So let me just turn it off again. It's too much chatting, not enough doing. So, let's turn it back on. Hold it down, wait for 2 pips. Okay, so now we're in setup mode. So I can hold down the push button. So if I press and hold it again, it goes up the scale, down the scale. Okay, so there are 64 tones. And then down we go. I assume everybody can see me. I don't know. There we go, 64 tones. All the way down. We're still going. We're still going. We're still going. We're still going. There we go. So now we got to the bottom. Okay, and pressed and go back up. So once I've found the tone I like that one. If I let go and keep pressing the push button and letting go, it repeats the tone. Okay? Okay, I like that one. So I've left it there, and then after about, I think it's about 10 seconds, it will time out of setup mode. There we go, a bit less than that. So now I've set my tone. Okay, on that alarm. Is that making sense so far, people? I hope so. Right. So people go, oh, I want to set the same. How can I do that? Because I can't work out what number I'm on. I'm trying to count 64. Right. Oh, just moved my tripod. There we go. Don't do that, do we? So, don't want to count 64, do we? So, the best thing to do is you're going to have to use your ear. Okay, so I've got this one set. Okay, if I turn this one on, if you can hear that, that one's set to default. Oh, I'll turn this one down because the vibration of the sound is setting that one off, which doesn't happen when you put the rods on it. Okay. Oh, let's turn that one up. That one's that one, and that one's that one. Okay, so I'm going to change the tone now on the green one to match. Okay, so let's turn this one off. Okay, I'm going to turn it back on. Wait for it to go into setup. Okay, now we're in setup. I don't want to go high, I want to go lower. No, keep going. Right, I want to go lower. Is that the same? And just keep going. You're going to have to do it by ear. Now, let's go a bit higher. Let's go lower. There you go. Is that about right? I think so. Time out. Oh, we've lost the feed. Hold on. There we go. Hope you had the sound there. We lost our feed slightly. So hopefully you're back up. You can see that. So we'll tap that. And you can tell that they're both now the same tone. If you can see, are we back up and running? I hope so. Might have lost the feed a little bit. If I switch to me, hello, if you're still there. Yeah, you got the feedback now. Okay, so if you saw there, then I've changed the tone. And now that they both I'll switch back again so you can see they're both the same tone. So you are going to have to play it by ear a little bit, but if you press and release the button, then you will hear where you are and you'll be able to match them up. Okay, it's going to be a bit of a pain to count the tones, but yeah, if you want them all set on the same tone, or the easiest way is to, of course, just have them all set on default, and then they are the same tone out the box because they're all set exactly the same. So I can show you how to reset the alarm as well, so it goes back to default, and then you'll see that they're both exactly the same tone. So let's turn the alarm off. So this is how you turn it. I've got too many volumes up. Right, okay, so this is how you reset the Txi-D. Okay, so you turn it on, you keep the buttons held down, you wait for 2 pips, and then you wait for 3, and then you let go of push button 1, the left hand button. And it turns itself off, and that's reset. So if I do the same thing with this one, turn it off, turn it back on, keep the buttons held down, wait for 2 pips and then 3 pips, wait for 3, takes a little bit longer because it is a reset, then I let go of push button 1, keep the button held down, then it turns itself off. Okay, so if I turn that back on now, if I turn this one back on, then you'll see that they are the same tone again. Okay, I'm going to come back to me now. Hopefully that made some kind of sense. I think it did. Let's just see if you had any questions on that. Let's have a look. Anybody? Does that all make sense now? You're still seeing? Yeah. Let's see who's here. Okay, so if you're just joining us, then hello. Welcome. We're going through some bits and pieces. So I've just been demonstrating how to do the tone. Obviously these are all going to be on our Facebook page. I'm watching my feed as I'm doing this, so sorry, I got a bit distracted by what was going through. There's a bit of a delay, so I'm making sure it's working. I haven't used this software before. OBS Studio is what I'm using. It's free software. Any of you guys stuck at home want to start doing your own little bits and pieces, you can able to use multiple sources to do your camera work. I'm just using it today. Hopefully it's working. So I certainly got a little bit more professional than I have been. So that's a good thing. And that should have shown you all how to set the tone, and then if you want to reset it back to how default setting, you can do that. And obviously it remembers your tone. So wherever you set your tone at, when you turn the alarm off and back on again, it remembers it. So really that's the only thing you need to do. Okay, so setting the tone is exactly, you know, once you've set your tone, which is something you would probably do when you get them out the box at home, and then that's it. You just go fishing because everything else is set, ready for you to go. The LEDs are set, so daytime brightness is set to maximum, nighttime brightness is set to medium. So nighttime you switch between the two. I've shown that in a previous video. I don't want to keep going over the same thing over and over again, though I will if people ask. Your tone you've just set, you just adjust. Oh, I'm going to point to stuff. I'm doing a transition. So you just want to set your tone. Let's zoom in on that. Yeah, that's zoomed in. So yeah, just set your response, set your volume if you're not using it with a receiver, or just, you know, you have your volume to 0, and that's it. Away you go. You just go fishing. The beep speed is set for 4, which is exactly the same as your TXI if you've come from that, or it's set to a sort of a medium level, so it's a good to go setting if you've never used Delkims before, and then you can just go fishing. So you know, you don't have to worry about doing all the other settings. The defaults are there, so that should be okay. Hopefully that helps on that one. Let's just read some questions. Without your sales head on, for the first time buyer of Delkim, what set would you recommend to purchase? Without my sales head, for the first time buyer, what would you say? Well, okay, Christian Dale, this is answering this question. If you want a radio, then you have to go for the either the Txi-D, which is the one that we've got. Sorry, just falling over here in my garage. The Txi-D and the RxD. If you want a new set of alarms, okay, and the new set is a fully digital system, which is, it is a massive step forward from our old one. I'm not trying to, without saying, but there are benefits. But if you're on a tight budget, then there are plenty of our old set, the TXI Plus, which was a fantastic alarm, as everybody knows, and won countless awards, with the RX Plus Pro receiver. Okay, so, and there's plenty of those second-hand. If you don't want a radio system, then, and you just want a nice simple alarm, then the the EVD, which we've just brought out, to put there, the EVD, okay, probably has to be the best value for money alarm we've ever made, because it is only $59.99, okay, and it comes with everything you need. It says it's got mute, it's got 16 digital tones, it's got the full response level that the Txi-D has, it's got no radio, you haven't got beat speed, you've not got a load of other features, but it's a good turn on and go alarm for your occasional or your keen angler but doesn't want a radio. Okay, one of our top field testers doesn't use a radio, he doesn't like that, he just sits there by his rods, and this is a perfect alarm. The old EVD didn't have the higher levels of sensitivity which this EVD, the EV Plus, let's get it right, sorry, EV Plus didn't have the higher levels of sensitivity that this EVD has. So Christian, you pays your money, you takes your choice. It's a case of, if you want a radio, you've got to make a decision on what your budget is and where you're going. One of the good things about Delkim is that we don't bring new stuff out all the time, so this current range is not going to be superseded and discontinued anytime soon, and the last one's lasted 15 years, so you've got to make that choice yourself. I'm sure there's people on here will recommend what you need to do, or what's good for you. Okay, Andy Piper just downloaded the app. Am I now in the comp? If you registered and answered the questions, yes. If you want that app, okay, if you want to enter the competition, all you got to do is download the app, register, answer the questions, and then you're in. Okay, so we got that on that one. Right, so what I'm going to do now is, if you keep asking questions, I'll come to them. If I don't come to them today, then I will come back to them over the week. So keep those questions coming, and I will try and cover stuff as well as I can. So what we're going to do now is have a little refresh on some older products. As I say, this is not about Delkim trying to push the corporate bandwagon forward. This is about helping you guys. So we're looking at some of the older stuff as a refresher for those, because there's so many people come on board probably and bought some second-hand alarms as people have updated. There's probably some help required on all of this, so I'll try and help you as best I can, and I'll just set the other camera up so I can show you. Oh, is this going to work now? There we go. Okay. Oh, I'm going to stop saying okay. Okay? Been told to say it too much. I sound like South Park. Okay? So I'm going to try and stop doing that. So that's okay. That's the RX Plus Pro. That's our older receiver that we've just updated from. So there's going to be lots of you out there with one of those and buying, second-hand alarms and adding to sets if you didn't want to update to the new one. and that's what we're looking at. If you just join us, hello. We're going through a few bits and pieces. This stuff is always going to be on our news feed, on our Facebook feed, so you can go back to it as a reference. But we've gone through setting the tone on the Txi-D, resetting it, and now we're looking at the RX Plus Pro, a few features on that, getting the most out of it. One of the things we do get asked a lot is, I've just bought a new Txi Plus for my set and it won't program into my receiver that I've got. Everything else works, the old alarms that I've got work. Can I send my alarm back? I think it's faulty. Right, first thing, it might not be a faulty receiver. In fact, it's probably very unlikely to be a faulty alarm, or the receiver. Okay, what you've got is, in about, where did we do? About 2008, I think, we had to make a change to the software to the receivers. We'd sold far more Txi Pluses than we ever thought possible. They all are individually coded, which is the same as we have on the current ones. Sorry, I'll come back to me for a bit. They have an individual code. You program your alarm into your receiver. That's why it doesn't activate anybody else's. And they all have an individual code. Because we made a load of Txi Pluses, we ran out of code. We didn't expect to be as successful as we were, or have the longevity in the product that it was. So we ran out of codes, and we had to adjust the software to allow for a higher level of coding. So anything manufactured after 2008 had the new software in the receiver to cope with the individual codes for those Txi Pluses that we made. And ever since then, we've been offering people who had older receivers a free of charge software update to talk to newly manufactured or newer manufactured Txi Pluses, and still talk to their old Txi Pluses. So, first thing to check, okay, if you buy a Txi Plus and it doesn't program into your alarm, into your receiver, sorry, turn it on, and does it make 2 pips after startup like this? Okay, hope you heard that at the end. I'll do that again in case you missed it. I'll just turn it up a little bit. So it does the anti-theft. It'll vibrate, and then it does 2 pips. If it doesn't do 2 pips, then you haven't got the latest software, and that will probably be what needs to be done. It's a free of charge update. Okay, it's a free of charge update, and you send it in to us when we're back up and running, and we'll update your receiver so that it will talk to your newer purchased Txi or newer manufactured Txi Plus, and then it'll work. So it'll do 2 pips. So that's the way forward. Okay, so what you have got the ability to do on these is, if I get closer there, will it do it? Okay, you've got a switch there that's got an L and a D. Okay, L and D, local and distant. If you are by your rods and you're fishing, then always have it in the L position. Wherever you go fishing, you should have it in the L position, unless you need to leave the swim for an emergency. So that L position is local. It reduces the range of the receiver to about 50 meters, up to 50 meters. It maximizes your battery life. It minimizes any interference, and just means you get the most out of it. This is an analog based system, okay, digital and analog mixed system, so it doesn't work the same as our new one, which is completely digital. So it does have the possibility of getting pops and crackles and slight interference because it works on an analog system, as I just said. But putting it in the L position means you're minimizing that possibility and you're getting the most battery life out of your product. Okay, you're reducing the power of the receiver or its sensitivity, and therefore it won't use your battery up as much. it's always as well good practice just to keep any receivers at least half a metre away from any power packs. So you guys who are using power packs when you're fishing, Ridge Monkey stuff or whatever power packs you happen to use, don't sit them directly on top, okay, because it's electromagnetic radiation they emit, and therefore that does have a slight interfering factor on receivers because it's radio. So just half a metre is all you need, and that is always good practice. That's just either side of your bivvy table really, or just either end of the bed chair. Then you'll just get maximum battery life and performance out of any receiver, not just a Delkim receiver. So that's always good practice. So D, if you switch that to D, okay, so if I switch that to D, now you've got maximum power, maximum range out of the receiver, and that will go up to 200 meters, maybe slightly more depending on bankside conditions. So that's your extra if you have to leave your swim, go and see your mate, help them out, or do what you have to do. That's the idea of that one. And so always use local when you're in your swim, only use distant when you need to leave your rods or need to leave your swim. Okay, nobody's condoning leaving your rods lifting, but if you have to move to the other swim to go to help your mate, or you've got to go somewhere quickly, wind in, and then obviously you've got to make sure you're in contact with your rods or whatever it is that you're doing, D is there for you. Turning off the anti-theft and turning off the vibro. Okay, these are two features that are possible on this receiver, and there's a little button on the back here. There we go, using my magic safety stick to show you. So if you want to turn off the anti-theft, all you have to do is hold the button down on the back, turn it on. Oops, turn it onto L. Can't do too many hands at once. So press the button down using your pen or your finger. Turn it onto L. As soon as the lights light up, let go, and that will deactivate the anti-theft. Okay, so it starts up like that, and you can probably hear it's vibrating, or I can feel it's vibrating. Okay, so now anti-theft has been turned off, and I can show you that by when I turn it back on again, it just does that startup, so that you can hear it vibrating maybe. And then just the pips. So that's the vibration. That's the anti-theft turned off. And if you want to turn it back on again, you just do the same thing again. So you hold the button down, turn it onto L. As soon as it lights up, let go of the button, and it makes the anti-theft sound again to tell you that it's activated. So it remembers whether you've turned it on or off. Okay, that's a setting it remembers. Vibro as well. If I want to take the vibro off, I hold the button down, I turn it on, and I wait for a pip. And let go. Whoa! No, I don't. Idiot. Sorry, that's resetting the memory. I'll try that again. 2 pips. Shows you how long ago I've been doing it. Brain fade. Hold it down, turn it on, wait for 2 pips. And now that's the vibro turned off. So wait for 2 pips, that's the vibro turned off. And again, if I turn the receiver off, back on again, hold the button down, turn it on, wait for 2 pips. And you might be able to hear it vibrating if I hold it near the speaker. So now we put it back. So it's vibro on off and the anti-theft on off. I'm hoping that makes some kind of sense. Okay, oh, time's flying by. It's 7 o'clock already. That's me half an hour up. The wife will be killing me. Let's switch back there. So that's how to deactivate or activate the anti-theft, deactivate or activate the vibro on the older receiver, and best way of using the receiver in terms of the L&D, which is the range. So that's what we get so many people use them in the wrong settings. Use them in L all the time unless you need to leave your swim, and then you put it in D. So it's not, that's always best practice. And I'll show you one more thing before I go on this. We're going to run out of time tonight to show you the receiver. I'm not going to sit in here all night. My little girl will go mental. So I'll show you one more thing and then we'll come back to the receiver tomorrow night. At least it'll give me something to do anyway, so you know, I can chat away for hours. I'll tell you one more thing. Clearing the memory of the receiver. So if you want to add an alarm, and I'll switch back to the receiver. So if you want to add an alarm to your set, or you want to, you've got them in the wrong order, or you know, you've got the blue coming out the red and you didn't like it and you want to switch them around, all you need to do is to clear the memory of the receiver and start the programming process again. We call it programming on this one, we call it pairing on the new one, you can call it pairing, it's entirely up to you. But if you want to clear the memory on an RX Plus Pro, this is what you do. So you turn the receiver off. Okay, this is off. You see it's off. You hold the button down on the back. You turn it on and you wait for a pip. You let go. All the LEDs are flashing. You then hold down the button again, wait for another pip, and then let go. And now that goes back to default. Okay, factory settings. So when you've got it out the box, it's not programmed. When you turn it on, it will just vibrate like that and pip and it will flash. So until you've actually paired it or programmed it with an alarm, it won't have the anti-theft sound. So hopefully that explains how to do that. And then just to program, it's just a quick press and release of the button at the back, and then the purple LED will flash. I haven't got a load of TXI pluses with me, so I can't show you the full programming, but I'm trying my best. If you don't want purple, you just keep pressing the button on the back until you get to the one you want, and then you can just skip through. So once you've programmed one in, you've got to skip through all of them to come out the other side on the yellow. If you want to put more than one in each LED channel, okay, hold the button down, and then it will do a pip sound. And now when it's flashing, it's pipping. Okay, so if it's flashing and pipping, that means you're in multi-channel mode, and that means you can program up to 4 alarms into each channel. Okay, you only want to do that if you want more than one in each channel. If it's pipping at you and you want to put them in all different channels, just turn the alarm off, turn the receiver off, sorry, turn it back on, and then just press and release. Okay, press and release. So let's assume I've programmed. Have I got one? Have I got one to show you? Let me just see. Well, I've got one. I might have one alarm. Oh, there we go. Have I got a battery in it? I can get a battery. Quick. This is excellent video, isn't it? Right, quickly. I've got one. Okay. You heard that noise there? That's good. It times out. If you left it flashing there for long enough without doing anything, it will time out and then tell you, you know, no good, I'm going to switch myself off. So you have to complete programming. Right, so I'll turn it on. I'm going to press the button on the back. Okay, so purple LED is flashing. Okay, I'm going to skip over because I've got a green one. I've just managed, this is in my box, the only one I've got here, I've got a green one. So I'm going to skip over, and I am going to press the button until I get to the green. I don't have to put it in green. I can put any one I like, but I'm going to put it in green just to be match it up. So I'll just turn the alarm on. It went, did it? It accepted it, and it moved on to the next LED colour. So you can see that the yellow is flashing. If I press, I have to confirm programming, I need to skip over the yellow. It's now doing the anti-theft because it's programmed, and then we're all up and running. If I turn the volume down on that, that's all working. Okay, hopefully that's given you some idea of how to use your RX Plus Pro receiver. Those of you that have just come on board, or you know, just need a little bit extra help or got something new. So let's go through that. Right, before we go, let's answer some questions. So Christian Dale asking again, what does the anti-theft mean in terms of how does it know alarm has been stolen? It knows because, and I can show you, I'll go back to it again. if somebody tries to take your alarm, let's put them both in the frame, okay, and they turn off your TXI and try to take it, it will send, okay, it sends a signal and sets off alarm on the receiver. The only way to turn that off is to turn the actual receiver off, and that cancels it. Okay, hope that explains that. On the TXID, that I just did a video, we have a IMU movement sensor, which is another level of security. We have that turn off feature, but we also have an IMU movement detection system, which is well worth checking out. Go back to our feed and have a look at that. What else we got? A few more comments before I go. No problem. I think we've covered everything today. Thank you for your time. I have got a little bit more professional as best I can. So hopefully this has been of some use to you. Ran out of time tonight. You can see I'm doing it on the fly on showing you the RxD, but tomorrow I will show the RxD. I want to show you the run light, because people have asked about bivy lights. We have a function on that, and probably going to show you the do not disturb function as well, which is a very good feature, and people have asked about that, so we'll go through that as well. So thank you for your time. Don't forget to download our app and enter yourself into that competition by downloading it and registering. So once you've registered, put in the questions, you are automatically entered. Keep the questions coming. I'll try and formulate some more content for tomorrow, and hopefully we'll go from there. One more. What's this? I don't know. Can you have the alarms on and run line through it to set off to program the receiver? Yes. So Will Martin, yes, just by activating the alarm. If you don't do it by switch on, just by activating the alarm. Switch on's the easiest way because it sends a signal, but just by running line through it, it will work exactly the same. Okay, so thank you very much, guys. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and stay safe, stay strong, and stay in. All right, and we'll speak again tomorrow. Thank you. Good night.